The xenomorphs of the Alien franchise are one of the most terrifying creatures ever created by Hollywood. In every movie they appear in, they become a major menace to the humans. On top of going toe-to-toe with the predators, we have a lot of fun imagining how we deal with the problem. So in this video, we're going to try to create a strategy for dealing with the Xenos if we ever have to. A good place to start would be taking ideas from the movies. The movies of the Alien franchise do normally show the humans triumphing over the Xenos, despite the losses and sacrifices they suffer. If we're building a strategy for how to cook some aliens, we could turn to the movies and see what tips we can get from there. So let's see. Alien the First, which introduces us to the xenomorph aboard the Nostromo. In this movie, after the alien kills practically everyone else, Ripley is able to eject the alien out of the airlock of her escape shuttle before incinerating it in the blast of its thruster. Fire is a no-brainer to kill basically anything, but this isn't a very practical solution overall. Since this movie only features the one Xeno, there aren't many ideas to glean from it, unless you're looking for ideas on how to die to one of these things. Let's move on to the sequel, Aliens. We get a lot more useful advice on alien killing techniques from this movie, since it's the one where Ripley accompanies a Marine unit to Hardly's Hope to investigate the aliens. Motion detectors help track the aliens as they scurry around in the shadows, and pulse rifles are effective at killing them. Also, power loaders. You need more than that for a winning strategy though, and the Marines take a defensive position against the aliens in this flick. That doesn't really work out too well for them. Alien 3 sees Ripley kill with molten lead, which is basically a kind of fire. Alien 4 also reuses the same Xeno killing methods. As for the prequels, they don't really have any xenomorphs, so there's no useful information for us there. So basically all we have to go on is fire, pulse rifles, and power loaders. Alright, let's show how these characters how you really kill a xenomorph. Sun Tzu says that you must know your enemy. What do we know about the xenomorphs? Besides the fact that they have a really scary mouth, and another scary mouth inside of that, the xenomorphs have a couple of traits that we need to keep in mind. Its scorpion tail, for instance, gives it a long reach that makes it suicide to fight it in any kind of close or medium range. The exoskeleton is pretty resistant to bullets too, so you need something like a pulse rifle to get through it, and their acidic blood is something to keep in mind as well, since acid can eat through the floor and structure of many environments where you might be fighting the Xeno. They're not invincible like a lot of horror villains are. You just have to think smart about fighting them, and that's what this video is about. We have to take advantage of the fact that we know our enemy, and the Alien movies take place in the 70s and 80s. While the Xenomorphs can challenge humans with old technology, we've gotten really good at killing things in the decades since then. Alright, time to start thinking about squashing some bugs. Now, the thing that the Xenos are always able to take advantage of is the element of surprise. Unless you see a bunch of eggs somewhere or a facehugger, you wouldn't even know that Xenos are in your midst until one of them bursts violently out of the chest of your annoying neighbor or coworker. Being proactive is key to an encounter with the Xenos. So let's talk prep. Xenomorphs are sneaky creatures. They like to move through vents and along ceilings and generally stick to the dark when hunting humans. While the characters of the franchise got a lot of mileage out of the iconic motion detectors, we really ought to think bigger. CCTV cameras with IR or night vision are the minimum, since you can monitor things live. But the problem is that someone needs to physically watch the feeds constantly, which is really hard. What if the person falls asleep in the chair? CCTV is important, but you shouldn't stop there. Motion sensors can be installed at doorways and windows, and you can install them in vents too. These can be rigged to activate silent alarms when a Xeno passes over them. Very useful, but their downside is that by the time an alien has entered a room, everyone else inside is doomed. Never enter the site of an alien attack without PPE. You can jerry-rig all the surveillance you want in the location, but you can't bring the chances of a Xeno encounter to zero. That's why everyone there needs to have some PPE or personal protective equipment. On the subject of proactivity, the power of night vision exists in the form of goggles too, so everyone has to have those. And the classic motion detectors are great too for tracking the alien where your eyes can't see them. Let's not discount the risk of someone getting their face hugged either. That would not only spell doom for the victim, but it also allows the aliens to multiply. Everyone looking to fight the alien will need hard shell masks to protect their faces, other body parts that need protection, everything else. Your best effort to get the jump on the alien will fail at some point, so you need to make sure that the Xeno can't kill you too easily. Luckily, stab-proof armor is a thing, and you're gonna need to make sure the alien can't bite you or stab you with its tail. Finally, there's strength in numbers. If you suspect you're being hunted by aliens, make sure everyone is in groups of at least 2. They're horror movie villains after all. The second you split up from the others, you're a goner. Now that your protection is on, how do you actually kill the Xenomorphs? The pulse rifles of the movie fire armor-piercing rounds, naturally, to get through the exoskeleton of the Xenomorphs. Specifically, they're using 10 by 24mm caseless rounds. As it happens though, we have much bigger and badder bullets than that. There are a variety of deadly armor-piercing rounds that are more lethal than the ones used in the pulse rifle. The biggest overkill solution you could consider is opting for some big stinking 50 caliber BMG rounds, firing them from an honest to goodness M2 Browning machine gun. Those are technically man-portable, and they can turn a whole coven of Xenomorphs into Swiss cheese. Riddling a Xeno full of bullets isn't the best idea though. Remember, they have acidic blood. If you're on the ground, you'll end up messing up the foundations of the building, and if you're on the upper floor, you might collapse the floor itself. There are armor-piercing rounds available for marksman rifles too. A precise shot or two to the head might get the job done more cleanly. Another weapon to consider is a good old flamethrower. Not the boring company one. We mean an actual flamethrower with propane tanks you strap to your back. Fire has proven pretty effective at killing xenos, and this will avoid spilling the acidic blood, but you'll have to live with the collateral damage. The tanks are dangerous too, as they could puncture and leak. But all this is only good against regular xenos. What do you do if the queen shows up? Well, that's the real challenge. Setting aside explosions and airlocks and stuff, the only way a human has ever killed a queen is using a power loader, the one thing the alien universe has that we don't. Our options for killing a queen are surprisingly limited. You'd need something like a bomb to kill a queen, but bombs would kill everything else around her. We're assuming that Weyland-Yutani isn't involved, so sacrificing everything and everyone isn't really an option. So let's set explosives aside and think of a more localized way of killing a queen. One option is toxic gas. Outlawed for use against enemy combatants in the Geneva Convention, we'll take a bet that we can use them against non-human targets, but you need serious stuff for an alien queen. None of that tear gas or mustard gas. Can the Russians lend us some Novichok? Getting a little more creative now. Can we force the queen to ingest a highly alkaline substance? Disrupting the pH of a creature's blood sounds like a pretty horrible way to kill them, but if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. You could use something like a water cannon or a sprinkler system to really blast the queen in the face with a base that'll neutralize the acid of the queen's blood and kill her. That's it for today's video. Hope you had fun joining us on this thought experiment. If you have anything you'd like to add to our scenario here, chime in the comment section below. And while you're at it, tell us about how much you love the Alien franchise. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe, or you might meet a xenomorph tonight. Just kidding. Or are we?